Yeah, hello, wagwan, salam alaikum, shalom, brothers. So, just a quick video on the Davis fight. Now, Davis Romero. So, I was really wanting my boy Romero, to do it. I watched it. I watched it the next day, like if you want, this morning, on fight or whatever it's called. You know what? I don't watch any live fights anymore. Late in the night. The US fights. There's just no way, man. By the time it's all done, it's 5:30 a.m., man. And but the sun's come up by that time in the summer in the UK, and you know what? It just ruins a few days. You get older as well. I'd only stop. When I was a youth, there weren't that many fights on, so you'd stay up for most of them. And get your boys around, get your drink on, get your greens on, get your yayo on. It'd be a night. But you know what? I don't. The only ones I would stay up now and watch would be the big heavyweight fights, or if there's a massive grudge fight that I know is gonna be fun. Yeah, I don't mean like a Mayweather fight. Now, obviously he's retired and whatnot, but I mean I remember staying up for the Pac-Man Mayweather fight, and after 4 rounds I'm like, this is whack. Why did I do this? I didn't buy it, streamed it of course, because I'm not giving. It's just not an exciting fight for me. I knew exactly what would happen, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I would watch. So I'd watch now. I mean, a big heavyweight fight. Put it that way. So I watched J vs Ruiz, which is one of the funnest times I had. Yeah, I went back to the old school that night. I had a man come round, my boy, and he likes the yayo, which I don't do anymore. And then I'd stopped really, but I had some greens on as well. Yeah, got some liquor on. Yeah. And hit the greens, the bong, and got some yayo. But man, what? I don't agree with drugs. I've explained that. For a number of reasons. They're just trying to subdue you and get you excited by it, and it makes money for the elitists, right? That's another video. I've already ranted about that. But it enhances, especially the green. It can enhance your feelings and emotions, man. When I used to watch fights on the greens, I'd be like getting into it too much, man. Sometimes, but yeah, I mean that was great to see J. I remember when I saw Ruiz draw, I went, oh no, come on, man. I had some money. I won about £800 on Ruiz too, because the odds were like ridiculous, like 16-1 on Ruiz to win by KO. Yeah? And I knew that J was not looking right. He was missing the pads in the build-up. He'd gone through some rituals. He had kept on flashing signals, and he had a little bruise, below his eye, because he went through one of them rituals. Apparently been knocked out by Joey DeWaco, who's a fat pink guy just like Ruiz. So yeah, I mean, but then I had one of the best nights in boxing. It was like the old school, man. Because you get more cynical as you get older. Things are not as important. I remember back in the day, the big fights. I'd be like reading everything I could about them for like 2 months before. I'd be buzzing for it. I mean, I'd feel my buzz. But you get older, you get more cynical. You realise a lot of it's nonsense anyway. But yeah, so I'd stay up for a big fight, a big heavyweight fight in America. A Tyson Fury fight. Not any fight. I wouldn't stay up and watch Otto Wallin, for example. But I'm obviously going to fight. The Wilder fights were again like back to the old school terms of excitement. All three of them fights, man. I've never been so on edge, man. And also I watched the first one. When Tyson gets up, and I was so buzzing. I was like, he's gonna do it. And then blap, and you're like, oh, yeah. Your heart sinks. You're just like, oh, damn. I knew it was too good to be true. And the man gets up. I mean, I thought the referee would have stopped it, and he'd be within his, it'd be completely reasonable if he had. Yeah? Except that once Tyson got up, boom, his head's cleared. Yeah. And you see Wilder's face, so it was great. It was a draw, and that was a bit gutting, but you know what? So those are the fights I'll stay up for. So I'm not going to stay up for Rolly Romero or Gervonta Davis. I wouldn't stay up for any Davis fight, really. I mean, I don't even stay up for Canelo, because he's getting a bit predictable anyway, right? And these days, especially with the streaming, you just watch it the next day, man. I don't care if I'm watching it. There is a bit of a difference in atmosphere, right? When you watch a live fight that you know is happening then and now, and you can't forward it. You can't forward the adverts. You can't forward the early fights. You got to sit and wait, and it builds up a bit of tension. I kind of like that, but you know, I'm not going to stay up for Gervonta Davis and his antics. Now, you know what? It was one of those, sometimes you get a feeling, yeah, in fact, I've done the wrong pick, yeah. And I see, like, Rolly's, I don't know, man. He looked a little lost, he always looks a bit weird, yeah. And you know, but he's looking around. I didn't see him in the zone, but actually, I thought he did okay. And the problem is, I mean, he's got much longer arms. He's much bigger than Davis, but Davis got a little dwarf's body, you know, short arms, stupid ass tattoos, and a huge head. Yeah. Now I was banking on Romero. Yeah, hoping to bang him with them long shots, those long rights, and stop him. But you know, when I see that head, man, I don't think I've seen a chinny fighter with a huge head. Yeah, look at the guys with the best chins. I'm talking about your Oliver McCaws, your George Chavalos, people like that. They've got massive heads. Jake LaMotta, massive head. Yeah. One exception a bit is Larry Holmes. He got a bit of a peanut head, but he's actually got a really big jaw if you look. You know, and he just had good, you know, he did go over, but he had good recovery powers, you know, when his little peanut head. But as I said, if you look at his jaw's actually very big, so that's interesting. So I started thinking he's not going to knock that huge head out. It's just too big. Yeah. And I kind of underestimated Davis's powers because the only fight I've watched of his recently was the Isaac Cruz or whatever, the one before. He didn't look that great there, and I'm like, well, you know what, this size difference, you know. And Rolly landed a few good shots. Yeah, he reddened up Davis's head, you know. And in the post-fight interview, Davis keeps on looking at it because he can see himself in the monitor or in the reflection, you know. Yeah, I mean, I was so, you know, I kind of thought, I do think. I wasn't feeling the upset, man. But whatever, it's 25 quid, man. Like I said, that's not even a packet of pub grub yayo, man, which I don't do anyway. You know, Rolly did land some shots. Like I said, my problem was his arms are a bit loose. Yeah, Davis is fast, and his timing is good. And I underestimate his punch power a lot, really. And he's got a great knockout record. I don't know. I didn't do my due diligence in checking out his record. Yeah, I just went on the last fight. I did think the shot that knocked out Rolly was not that great, to be frank. You know, if you look at how he lands it, it was a quick shot, bang on the button, but, you know, it was like the open, you know, the kind of, not really the knuckle part of the glove. And it really smashed Rolly. The referee is right to stop it. Rolly was nowhere, man. But like you said, you can't tell with the Rolly's eyes because he's always staring like weirdly. Yeah, and his eyes rolling around his head anyway. They always roll around his head. That might be the yayo, like I said before, anyway. But it was a good stoppage, yeah. So, you know, and Davis, I mean, yeah, he does look good. He doesn't look like he should move up much in weight. I don't know. I mean, these days with the PEDs, but his body is that of a bit of a dwarf. He's got short arms, and he's not that muscled up anyway at the weight. But let's put it this way, I certainly respect him a bit more. Afterwards, you know, he annoys me. He was complaining a bit to the ref and talking to, you know, his mum. He got his fat mum dancing. Why does every, you know, black American woman seem to weigh about 300 pounds? I don't know. You know, it must be the father who was lighter. You know, the lighty. You know, it must be the father where the oil drilling happened because you know, I think his grandfather was an oil driller because he's quite light, Davis. But he's also, I mean, he's got a very weird head and hairline. He was all right after the fight. You know, he said, you know, well done, Rolly, for coming and giving it. You know. And the referee is desperate for him to say something. Oh, I mean, not the referee, the interviewer. He's like, oh, did his antics annoy you? Did he really want it? He's like, you know what? I know that's part of the game to sell tickets. You know, it's okay. So, you know, I kind of thought, yeah, Gervonta Davis, you know, like all these American fighters, they always have to play that getter card. It's boring, man. You know, the Mayweather thing and all that. And Mayweather didn't always used to talk like that. It's totally affected, right? And let me tell you about this. They do it on purpose, you know. You listen, they just copy the hip hop guys, right? Yeah, and hip hop didn't start like that. Hip hop started like Run DMC, who were a bit of fun. Yeah, they were street guys, but they weren't bragging on the shooting and this, that, and the other. And then there was Public Enemy, was quite political. Yeah, and a few of the earlier acts. What's that? The Sugar Hill Gang, is that what they're called? young MC, people like that. And then NWA came up. Now there's a guy called. Let me find his name because it's important here. Yeah, Jerry Heller. That's it, right? So Jerry Heller, yeah, managed NWA and Eazy-E, yeah, and that's kind of like the start of gangster rap. That Ice-T, but also he was a comic book character, But NWA brought some. I mean, I loved it. You know what I'm saying? And Eazy-E had a sense of humor, but Jerry Heller really pushed them to do that gangster stuff, and then that started to become normal, and they were all acting like that. Now, people, you conspiracy theorists, triple beat. No, man. They're encouraging that stuff for a number of reasons. They want to encourage people to be violent, to be to be consumerists, yeah, to be obsessed with materialism, right? And also, they want to keep real talk, man. They want to keep the prisons full. If they aren't running at 98% capacity, yeah, they're losing money, and that's either losing the government money, yeah, or it's losing the private companies that run the prisons' money. So they need them full max. And there's whole towns built around supermax prisons where most of the people work in the prisons, stuff like that. Huh? A lot of the people. It's an industry there. It's an industry, and there's a lot of money in it, especially for the private guys that run the private prisons, right? This is how you got to see corruption out there. Per capita, and as a straight number, the United States locks up more people than any Western country, more than China, which has got 1.5 billion people in. Yeah, and they're regarded as fascists. No, America's a fascist country. They're the ones that are locking everyone up for nothing. You got guys like Michael Nunn. What did he do, like 20 years or something? Yeah, for having a bit of yayo. Just crazy stuff, man. Yeah? Crazy stuff. Now, and they encourage, so that, through the TV and entertainment, they encourage this stuff. So they want people to buzz off it, to be materialists, to be criminals, so they can nick them, right? Yeah, and there's also other stuff, right? It's deeper conspiracy. Now, as I said many times, this is a boxing channel, but the CIA and people like that, and there's ex-CIA guys admit it, they pushed, especially the crack cocaine, industry. Yeah, they allowed yayo to come in from, guys that are working with in South America to make themselves some money, and to get them on side. Say, listen, man, if we'll let you have some of the yayo trade, yeah, as long as you don't, but you got to be real anti-communist, anyway. This kind of stuff. And also they'd find piles of guns and stuff. Yeah, in the ghettos. Guys will walk around, there's a bunch of guns lying around. Why? Because they want people to fight amongst each other. And it's not just, people will say, oh yeah, it's a anti-black thing. Look, man, they're an anti-poor people thing. They're an anti-everyone thing, man. Don't think those white trash hillbillies living in their trailers, yeah, have got any kind of white privilege thing. Yeah? They're more meth heads and you've seen the state of them shabby trailers, man. Those are the white ghettos, right? Yeah? It's only the elite. They want to keep down the poor, the working class. They can use them for cheap labor and, whatever else. And then they got the middle class that kind of buffer zone, and, these guys kind of believe the system. They're the kind of guys that believe everything they read in the papers and believe the system's fair and believe in the police. Yeah, and then you got the rich guys who are just rich, and they're getting close to the elites. They're not there. Some of them are pawns, Don't think that Elon Musk, people like that, super rich. Don't Jeffrey Bezos. Don't think they're not bending over for someone, man, and pushing some agenda. You don't get that much money. They go, yeah, well, let this guy have all this money, They want a piece of it too. Yeah, Elon Musk he says some good stuff sometimes, but that's just control opposition. He's a shill, man. He's a shill for the elitists. Anyway, back to boxing. So, Romero, I think maybe Romero's chin isn't that great. I didn't think he took that biggest shot when he went over. And like I say, even Gervonta Davis afterwards, he's like, I didn't think it was much of a shot. Talking that stupid voice. But he was right. He goes, I didn't really feel it. Now, they say sometimes if you land a big shot, and a perfect shot on the chin, you don't really feel it. But Gervonta would have known that it wasn't his hardest shot. So yeah, it's a shame. The Rolly Romero story doesn't end, but It's not as bright as it could have been. And it'll probably just fade away. There was people on my channel go, oh, it's all fixed, all fixed. Listen, man, that shot knocked him out, man. He's wobbling all over the place. Also on the undercard, there's Erislandi's Lara, who gave Canelo a good fight, I think, a few years ago. Some say he won, but so he's someone on my channel, some subs. I'm not dissing him. He was like, no, if you want to win some money, don't bet on Romero, bet on Kerry Sullivan points. I'm like, really, man? I'm like, come on, man. He gets stopped every time he steps up, and he got stopped in the 8th round. But you get 3-1 on points, but the stoppage price was not that good. It's like 2-1 on, if you know what I'm talking about. By the way, when you talk about betting, if you want to know about betting, you just use decimal odds. Yeah, I'm using the fractional odds. The American lines are silly as well. Plus 300. Plus, if you want to work things out properly down to the pound and easily, and the value, you just look at the decimal. Yeah, so it was 1.44 for the stoppage by Lara. That's not interesting. That means you put on £100, you get £144 back, 100 of which is your stake, and 44, which is the profit. That ain't, that's less than staking £2 to win £1. I mean, if you're 100% sure, if you're like 98% sure it's going to happen, then yeah, put a big thing on it. I don't really bet big, not now anyway. I don't know if I agree with betting anyway. You're not going to play lots and cast lots and whatnot. To me, I just think it's a business though, because that business is just risking money or investing in stocks and shares, isn't it? It's risking money on an outcome. I need the money to go up, or cryptocurrency. I mean, all these things can be looked at closely, and you can say, oh, I don't know if they're moral or correct, So I don't mind a bit of betting now and then, but I don't do no spreadsheets anymore. That was, that's the best way to do it. Keep a spreadsheet so because gamblers, yeah, they was like, yeah, I'm definitely up. I'm like, really? How do you know that? Oh, I won this, I won that. I'm like, okay. What about, and you're thinking, yeah, I say, have you added it all up? Nah, man, why did I do that? Well, to know exactly how much profit you've made. I'm just, most gamblers, a lot of them bet for the buzz. You know what I'm saying? They just want the buzz of the win. And they feel like winners. Yeah, it's a amateur psychology thing, like people love the betting because then when win, they rush in the pub. Yeah, and they got a big lot of cash. I used to know a guy like that. He's buying everyone a drink. I said, don't do that, man. Everyone buy you a drink when you lose. Forget about it. Don't buy me a drink. He's like, no, man, I don't care. I love it. Yeah. He had 2 jobs just to support his gambling habit, if you believe that. Anyway, Davis, the future, I'm not that bothered. I'm not that interested. I mean, what I mean by that is that, as I've got older, I'm less interested in the dwarf weights, the little weight. I mean, unless you got a special fighter like Nazim Hamed, something like that will excite you. I mean, by special, I mean, good fighter and exciting and boastful, something fun, it's different. I never really was interested in Mayweather because he's just so boring, man. He was better early on in the days. He'd stop people like Diego Corrales. I'm not going to get excited, about the lower weights. The whole pound for pound thing is nonsense anyway. And, what does that mean? All the moving up in weights, it's only because of the PEDs. They never used to do it. Like Sugar Ray Robinson moving up to light heavyweight, he got stopped by, was it Willie Pastrana? Because of the heat, they said. But come on, man, he should be able to take the heat. But he was just not big enough. But in the PED days, you get a guy like Canelo who's a light middleweight. Yeah, really. I would suggest, and he can go right up to light heavyweight and be competitive. Pacquiao was the example. He took so much HGH. He had a big head anyway, but the head became as big as Gervonta Davis almost. So this pound for pound, it doesn't mean anything, man. There's only one pound for pound king, and that's the top dog who's a heavyweight because no one else can beat him. He's a king. He's a king. All the other guys are little kingdoms, man. They say, oh yeah, it's like Belgium compared to like France or something, Yeah. You can't compare because Tyson or whoever your top heavyweight is, Usyk, is going to be everyone else in the boxing world, yeah. Because not even the cruiserweights, they might be able to go up and put a bit of weight. They're about the only ones, but they're still. If they went straight in there, they'd still only be 200 odd pounds, yeah. Mayweather wouldn't last. As soon as someone big hit him. Not even an average heavyweight, he can't deal with that power. You saw how he struggled with that Logan Paul, he ain't even a boxer. You know, he outweighed him by I don't know, 30 pounds or something. You know, he was. So what I'm saying is, like, the pound for pound thing. Well, whatever, man. And how do you work that out? It's impossible, really. You know, you can't really. It's a joke. It's a joke title, a stupid title. I don't totally ignore. You know, I mean, if you take away the weight divisions, also, you know, they don't like to put the heavyweights. Oh, they're much slower, but they're not as coordinated. Yeah, because they're massive. You know, they're like dinosaurs. I'm not sure dinosaurs exist because, you know, what it's done is found a few little bones and these big like skeletal like things you see in the Natural History Museum. They're not real. They're just an impression of what it might have looked like. You know. Anyway, that's for another day. The dinosaur theory, but yeah. Well, we'll see where Davis goes. Yeah, so look at the rankings. You know, Davis. Well, I think he's cleared number one at lightweight. Kambosos Jr., I really like. Yeah, he's fighting Devin Haney right in the Australia. I mean, in these kind of fights, you've usually always got to go like the same thing with the Romero Davis one. You want to go with the boxer, not the aggressive guy. But you know, Davis. I just thought there was some value on Romero at 6-1. But Kambosos is Devin Haney's a favorite, but not by a large margin. You get about 2.5 decimal on Kambosos Jr. You know, I don't know. I'll look at that fight later. I think he's got a chance there. I don't think he'd have that much of a chance against Davis because of Davis's power. Yeah, and he's very accurate, man. You know? And I think he's a clear top boy, Davis. With Lomachenko, maybe a younger one, you know? Lomachenko is special, man. You know, he's got a real dwarf body as well, like the narrow shoulders, and he might be too old now, really. Lomachenko, I do think he's one of the best ever, regardless of his two losses, really. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Who will he fight next? I don't know. I haven't looked enough at it. There's a Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia won't fight him. You know, crying Ryan. It's too much. You know, they want to get Ryan Garcia to make as much money out of his pretty boy looks and pass him around at like, you know, weird Batman's parties, you know, with Oscar sitting there in the kitchen, smile on his face, pure evil on Oscar's face with a kitchen whisk and no lube. Do you know what? Just looking at the ratings, though, you know how many male lightweights there are in the world currently active, right? 2,138. Yeah? You know how many women in the entire women's boxing that are active? Yeah, 1,500 thereabouts. Yeah? That just shows you the stupidity. Yeah, there's like 600 more lightweights, male lightweights, who are active now than there are entire women's boxing. It shows you the joke of women's boxing. Yeah. Anyway, that fraud needs to drop all the creepy guys like John Denton and Matt Christie, whilst ignoring the tragedy in boxing, will sit there shaving their carrot. Yeah, to women's boxing. They make me sick. One thing I forgot. Sorry, man. Yeah. That's the other thing. I was thinking, well, maybe, you know, Gervonta Davis is escaping Mayweather and they're going to spite him for it, you know. But, yeah, he's back with Mayweather Promotions, and afterwards, you know, he sat there with the very, very creepy Leonard Ellaby, or whatever his name is. Yeah. He got big nostrils too, and he uses his creepy glasses, yeah. Yeah. And by the way, that'll all be about that kind of organization is all about laundering money too, you know. And they're all part of the secret societies. I bet you Leonard, yeah, has smashed Javis's back door in, you know, to make him subservient, to break the buck. And you know, he's a creepy looking guy. There's some weird rumors out there about him, his back business. But yeah, so Gervonta Davis is staying with Mayweather. I'm not that surprised, really. He knows what side his bread's buttered on, you know, even though he stole Mayweather's the furniture Mayweather bought for him and sold it all, and the car as well, and went back to Baltimore. I mean, he's off. That kind of amuses me still, but yeah. So he's back together, them two bum boys.